I'm Rachel Hernandez, real estate investor turned mobile home investor and best-selling author. I make a living investing in mobile homes for cash flow for long-term passive income. After many mistakes and lessons learned, I've been able to create the kind of life where I can do the types of things I want to do, not have to do. I created the Adventures in Mobile Homes podcast to share with you what I've learned so you can spend more time with family, friends, and do things you love. Mobile home investing can help you get there. If you want to hear real stories with practical and actionable advice you can use from someone who's been in the trenches and who's still investing today to create the type of life you love, then you're in the right place. Let's get started. Well, hey there, and welcome to the Adventures in Mobile Homes podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Hernandez, aka Mobile Home Girl of AdventuresinMobileHomes.com. Thank you so much for joining me here on the 9th episode of the podcast. Now, just in case you missed it, be sure to tune in to the last episode where I talk about how to talk to mobile home park managers and owners for your mobile home investing business. You can find it along with the show notes at www.adventuresinmobilehomes.com/8. And that is the number 8. Okay, so let's get started. So last week, as part of the Take Action series of episodes on what you can do to take action as a mobile home investor, I shared with you about how you can talk to park managers when visiting mobile home parks and the steps you can take to build rapport and establish relationships with them, which will set you apart from the competition. But today, I want to talk about the current times because, let's face it, COVID-19, aka coronavirus, is here to stay. It's not going away anytime soon. And we need to know what we can do as investors to be safe. So I thought I'd address this here in a podcast episode, since this is a topic that was brought up in the private forum, which is part of my Take Action training course. Now, whether we're out visiting park managers, meeting with contractors, meeting with sellers, meeting with buyers, or anyone else we interact with during the course of our mobile home investing business, we need to take precautions on doing things and handling ourselves in a safe manner. So today, I'm going to talk about what you, as a mobile home investor, can do to take action and run your mobile home investing business during COVID-19 to keep yourself safe and away from getting exposed and becoming sick. But before we move on, let's hear a word from our sponsor. Hey there, Rachel here. Are you ready to take action with your mobile home investing plans? Are you tired of waiting on the sidelines? Have you been trying to make things happen as a mobile home investor, but you're not getting the results you want? Do you need the guidance of an experienced mobile home investor like me? If yes, then I've got a mobile home investing course for you. It's called What You Need to Do to Get Started in Mobile Home Investing. It takes you from point A to point B on the steps you need to do to take action as a mobile home investor and get you the results you want. With so much information out there, it's overwhelming to go out, search, and come up with a plan for taking action on what you need to do to get started as a mobile home investor. In addition to the course, it includes a 50-page workbook where you can follow along and take notes, a free audiobook where I talk about getting started as a mobile home investor and the mistakes you need to avoid. Plus, you'll get access to a private forum where you can ask me questions directly, post your deals, and get opinions on them, and network with others who have taken the course. This is the only forum I go to personally answer questions from students. I have a special limited time offer for you as a listener of this podcast. So if you're ready to take action and need someone to help you with your mobile home investing plans, check it out at www.adventuresinmobilehomes.com/take-action-training. Again, www.adventuresinmobilehomes.com/take-action-training. Grab your seat and get started today. Now, back to the show. Okay, so how exactly can you be safe during COVID-19? What are the steps you need to do to make sure you don't get sick or exposed to anyone who has the virus in the first place? Well, let's start with the CDC guidelines for prevention. When going out, you'll need to wear a mask and even eye protection, which will be even better. Though it looks weird, I do wear my safety goggles, you know, the kind for contractor type work, with me. Because honestly, at this point, the way the equipment looks like when you wear it on your face, it doesn't matter, as long as it protects you. Getting back to prevention, bring hand sanitizer and wipes with you in the car. And take some with you whenever you get out of the car and wherever you go. Wash your hands as much as you can. And don't touch your face when you're outside of your home and working out in the field. This is the hardest part. You have to act like your hands are contaminated. So get in the habit of putting yourself in this mindset. Everything you touch can be potentially contaminated. So watch out and be mindful of what you do. Yes, you can wear gloves when you're out in the field as an added precaution. But remember, you'll eventually have to remove those gloves and wash your hands anyways. Gloves will not protect you from everything, and you may not be able to do everything with gloves on. you may have to take them off to do certain things. So keep that in mind. Regarding meeting with people, remember to social distance. The CDC recommends staying at least 6 feet apart, about 2 arms length away from other people. Do not shake hands. This is one of the hardest things for me to remember personally, because it's a business greeting to shake hands when you meet people, whether it be for the first time or meeting people again that you know that you do business with. It's just part of our culture to shake hands. We've gotten used to it. And coronavirus has changed this forever. So let's talk about going out to meet people during COVID-19. First, let's talk about park managers and owners. How exactly do you go out and meet them during these times in the first place? This is a very good question that was asked in the private forum as part of my Take Action training course. So I thought I'd address it here. Well, I will say during these times, there are some mobile home park offices that are open and some that are closed, meaning it's by appointment only. So you'll have to find that out and establish whether or not the parks you want to do business in are open or closed, and how they handle meeting with people during this time. When you're out visiting the parks, which I cover in episode 6 of this podcast on how to find mobile home parks, it's best to check the office to see if there is any signage on the window regarding their procedures for meeting people during COVID-19. Now, either there will be a sign saying you need to call the office for information and it's by appointment only, or there will be no sign, meaning the park manager or owner will be in the office and hopefully they'll post on the window that you need to wear a mask when entering the building. So remember to bring yours and wear it when you're out in the field. So let's talk about the first scenario where you have to call the park office phone number and make an appointment if you want to meet with the park manager. Now, in this case, what exactly do you say? Well, it's pretty much the same thing as I talked about in the last episode, episode 8 of this podcast, where I cover the topic of how to talk to park managers. The only difference is that you're not walking into an office just yet. Instead, you're calling over the phone to talk to the park manager in order to make the appointment. So when you call, follow everything that I talked about in the last episode. Be cordial and respectful of their time. Don't tell them that you're an investor from the get-go. Your goal here is to try to make an appointment. You need to have a face-to-face meeting, even if it involves you wearing a mask. This is very important and shouldn't be overlooked. You cannot do this business over the phone. Lonnie Scruggs, the godfather of mobile home investing, strongly believed that this business is a people business. And that means meeting people in person, even during a pandemic, as long as you stay safe. Take precautions and stay aware of your surroundings. Don't put yourself at risk. Wear a mask, wash your hands frequently, don't touch your face, and be careful of what you touch. Don't shake hands when you meet and greet people. Either nod to acknowledge them when you meet, or bow, whatever works for you. So that's pretty much what you need to do with park managers and or owners. Try to get the appointment over the phone. And once you do, just follow the steps I talked about in the last episode on how to talk to park managers and owners. As a side note, I'll link up an article I wrote here on the subject titled, How to Run Your Mobile Home Investing Business with the COVID-19 Outbreak, for reference, if you'd like to check it out. Okay, so let's move on to the next step. How about when it comes to meeting mobile home sellers? What do you do in this case? Again, take the same precautions. Wear a mask, wash your hands frequently, be aware of what you touch, social distance, and remember not to shake hands when you meet them. If you're going to be meeting with mobile home sellers, you're going to need to know if anyone in the home is sick or experiencing any symptoms of the virus. I know this may be uncomfortable for you to ask, but it's just a sign of the changing times and current events. Do what you need to do to stay safe. And this means asking the right questions beforehand. Now, a technique you can use is to use your own spouse or some family member and tell the seller that they, meaning your spouse or family member, just want to make sure that you're safe, which is understandable. If the seller says someone is sick in the home and they don't know what it is, then this is where you have to make a judgment call. Because honestly, if there's even the slightest chance someone in the household may have COVID-19, it's not worth the risk. Especially if they are at home being quarantined. So ask the right questions before you get there. Now, when you're out visiting sellers at these homes, you'll need to take the same precautions I mentioned when meeting and visiting park managers. Wear a mask, be careful of what you touch, and social distance. Before the appointment, ask the seller if there will be anyone else at the home when you go there. You need to know this information beforehand. And again, ask if anyone there is sick or has any symptoms of the virus. If it seems like there may be too many people in the household, then you may want to ask if there's a time where you can go and see the home when less people are there, but at a convenient time for the seller. Remember, you want to be mindful and respectful of the seller. But at the same time, you want to be safe yourself. Don't take the step for granted, because honestly, it's not worth getting sick over. You need to maintain your health. Otherwise, you can't even function as a mobile home investor. Now, let's move on to meeting with buyers. So with the last home I had on the market, I had to meet with potential buyers in a different way. Essentially, I had to change up the way buyers looked and went through the home. Now, I talk about this process more in my book, Adventures in Mobile Homes, How I Got Started in Mobile Home Investing, and How You Can Too, which I'll link up here in the show notes. Though, since we have coronavirus, I can no longer do this. So what I did was take pictures of the inside of the home as well as the outside. Then I uploaded the photos online. So when people called me about the home, and to those who were interested, I sent them a link to the pictures. I told them if they were interested, they'd have to pass my application first, and if they did, they'd have to go and apply for the lot. I went on to say that if they passed both applications for myself and the park, then they could see the home and view it with their family from the inside before they sign any paperwork. Now, I did get a few families who didn't want to do things this way. They wanted to see the home first, though I really couldn't take the risk. The last thing I wanted was to have a bunch of people go through the home, increasing the chances of being exposed and exposing the home to someone who may be sick every single time. I had to manage my risk. So I told these families that this was the way to do things if they wanted the home in the first place. To give them peace of mind, I told them there is a warranty with the home which I provide to all prospective residents with the homes I have on the market. All in all, I weeded out a lot of people, though it worked out fine. I had a lot of people applying, and I will tell you, I didn't have the greatest success finding folks who could pay me using payments. I just couldn't find a qualified family for it who wanted to pay using those terms. So I ended up selling it for cash, and since this was the second time I took back the home, I made $90,000 on this deal overall. I'll talk more about this deal in a future podcast episode, so stay tuned. If you have homes on the market, I suggest you make a plan on how you're going to market them and show them beforehand, especially during these times. Not everyone is going to like it, but that's okay. And part of this business during these changing times. You just have to have a plan. Be firm and stick to it. Lastly, I want to talk about meeting contractors. Now, I have a few homes that I'm fixing up right now. So I'm actively doing this as I'm recording this podcast episode. How exactly do you meet with contractors in this environment? Well, the best thing to do is go back to the CDC guidelines. Wear a mask. Wash your hands frequently. Don't touch your face. If you like, you can wear gloves when you go out and meet contractors. And above all, remember, and this is a hard one for me, don't shake hands. So for me, I make sure the contractors I meet with wear a mask. And most of them do this for their own protection. But you may want to mention it over the phone when you're setting up the appointment. If it makes you feel uncomfortable to ask this, again, just mention that your spouse or family member just wants you to be safe, and they should understand. Now, when you meet contractors at the house, be sure to social distance when you meet them. Keep space between you and the contractor at all times. As you walk them through the home and the things that need to be done to fix up the home, and when they leave. If you or they touch anything in the home, be sure to sanitize or use wipes when you get in the car. If you have water in the home, you can wash your hands. Usually, I just use the sanitizer I have, and then wash my hands when I get to a place where I can, usually at home. But remember, it's better to have something than nothing. So take precaution and take this seriously. So there you have it. My advice on how you can run your mobile home investing business during COVID-19 in order to stay safe as a mobile home investor just starting out. So what did you think? Did this episode help you in getting started as a mobile home investor? I hope so. As you can see, it's very important to take this pandemic seriously and take the necessary steps to be safe. Remember, follow the CDC guidelines. Remember to wear a mask, wash your hands frequently, bring hand sanitizer and wipes in your car. Social distance, don't touch your face, and be aware of everything that you touch. Whether you're out visiting and meeting with park managers or owners, prospective buyers or sellers or contractors, it's very important to stay safe and take the needed precautions during COVID-19. Because this is a life and death situation. People have died from it. There's no vaccine yet, and it should be taken seriously. Honestly, no deal is worth dying over or getting sick. If you get sick, then you can't function as a mobile home investor, and you're no good to yourself or your family. So take the necessary precautions. It's better to be safe and aware than to be ignorant and to put yourself at risk. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I hope this episode has helped. Staying safe and following the CDC guidelines on what you can do to be safe as you go out in the field is one action step you can take to help you get closer to your goals as a mobile home investor. An important action step and one not to be taken lightly. Because it's not worth it to get sick, or even worse, die. And speaking of action, if you yourself are ready to take action and feel that you need some guidance as a mobile home investor, I have a special training course for you. It's called What You Need to Do to Get Started in Mobile Home Investing. Basically, the course will take you from point A to point B on the steps you need to take action when just getting started as a mobile home investor. It's a completely self-paced training course that you can do on your own time. In addition to the course, it includes a 50-page workbook where you can follow along and take notes, a free audiobook where I talk about getting started as a mobile home investor and the mistakes you need to avoid. Plus, you'll get access to a private forum where you can ask me questions directly, post your deals, and network with others who have taken the course. This is the only forum I go to personally answer questions from students. I have a special offer here for listeners of this podcast episode for a limited time only. You can check it out at www.adventuresinmobilehomes.com/takeactiontraining. Again, www.adventuresinmobilehomes.com/takeactiontraining. Hope that helps. And if you decide to take the course, I'll see you in the forums. Continuing along on the theme of taking action, I'll continue to talk about the different action steps you can take to start building up your business as a mobile home investor in the next couple of episodes. So stay tuned. For more information on this episode, check out the show notes where I link up some of the resources mentioned here. You can find it at www.adventuresinmobilehomes.com/9. And that is the number 9. Again, www.adventuresinmobilehomes.com/9. And if you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to share it with family and friends. And be sure to subscribe. If you have some time, I'd love to hear your feedback through a short Apple Podcast review. Until next time, this is Rachel Hernandez, aka Mobile Home Girl of the Adventures in Mobile Homes podcast, signing off. Thanks for tuning in.